Veronica Moraa Pickering, you can hardly tell she carries the coveted honor of being the first black woman and Kenyan to be appointed Royal Air Force Honorary Air Commodore. The Air Commodore is a one-star rank and is Air Officer rank, being immediately senior to Group Captain and immediate subordinate to Air Vice Marshal. Veronica was born in Kenya and moved to England in the late 1960s at the age of 7.
When I was asked to take up the position,
Yes.
I was really unsure, because I didn't think I fitted as the typical image
Why?
of somebody that would be a black woman in the RAF, because I had not seen that image before. My cousins here who said, "You're on local Kisii radio station." And I was, really? Why? What's happened?
Wow.
So I was super surprised. I went to a reception at Buckingham Palace where I literally shook hands with the Queen and Prince Charles
Wow.
and Camilla.
Oh my God.
I was really overwhelmed slightly. I had to contain my excitement.
It was a great feeling, but I'm not surprised with Veronica because I'm always expecting something from her.
Hello and welcome to Diaspora Life with me, Pasil Telewa. Mrs. Pickering has over 25 years of experience in social work, international child protection, and works currently as an executive coach and mentor with companies and organizations across the UK and Africa. We spent some time with her and she shares her personal and career life story with us. So this is what SCP tweeted. Congratulations, V. Pickering, on being the first black woman and Kenyan to be appointed RAF Honorary Air Commodore. You definitely are making history. You will not another first when you take up royal appointment as High Sheriff in 2023. Pongezi sana.
I know.
How did that tweet make you feel?
Well, two things. One is that I didn't know that tweet was coming out, right? So when I saw it, I thought, oh my word, somebody said something about me publicly, which doesn't happen very often. So I was like, okay, that is fantastic. And he's a great guy, by the way. He's a really fantastic ambassador, fantastic High Commissioner. So, and he's easily accessible as well, because that's how I know him, you know, because I've met him now a few times. But no, it was a real treat, I have to say, and it's so kind of him to put it out there, yeah? And then I think what happened is I even got a phone call from my cousins here who said, "You're on local Kisii radio station." And I was, really? Why? What's happened?
Wow. So tell me what being a RAF means.
I was appointed as an Honorary Air Commodore for the RAF with my own squadron, which is again sort of super abstract, surreal.
Yeah.
And the squadron is 504 County of Nottingham Squadron, which again is just brilliant. It represents, and it was founded within Nottinghamshire.
Yeah.
So it represents Nottinghamshire and Nottingham. So I live there, I live in that county, so I fit in so many ways with what the future of the RAF is about and what it's currently about as well. So it's about that as well. But I have to say, when I was asked to take up the position,
Yes.
I was really unsure, because I didn't think I fitted as the typical image
Why?
of somebody that would be a black woman in the RAF, because I had not seen that image before.
So you're breaking records.
I think I'm breaking records, probably, yeah, but no one really talks about that, you know, so it's, am I really? Yeah, so maybe I am. So it's interesting. So I think that perception of what you think the Royal Air Force is about is not what I thought it was about.
Yeah.
Until I went in and I saw many other black people, men and women, in the Royal Air Force, and I thought, oh, why do we not know about all of these amazing people? Because for them to be involved and representing their countries of origin as well as being in the UK Royal Air Force is a big deal.
So when you're in that Air Force, are you also representing Kenya and the UK in this case?
I feel as if I am. I'm not officially, of course, but every time I walk out and do anything as a black woman, and in these prominent positions, of course I feel as if I'm representing Kenya. I have a Kenyan passport. I am Kenyan. I have everything to do with Kenya. I can't be here if it wasn't for the fact that I'm Kenyan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I come from Kenya, I'm a daughter of Kenya, and if I walk out in the streets, I'm Kenyan. And when I walk out in the UK, I'm a black woman. Am I from Africa? They're not sure without asking me, right? But then I say, I'm Kenyan. I always say it. Yeah, and I'm proud to be Kenyan in every possible way. So if I'm asked to do anything,
Yeah.
I say I'm Kenyan. It's never really an issue for me.
Does the role
No.
you have in the UK limit you, or rather cut you off from,
No.
partaking in other activities within home?
No, absolutely not. It's another string to the bow, right, as they say. And I think of myself being not just Kenyan. I'm an executive coach. I'm a mother. I'm a partnership specialist. I have a safeguarding background, so I'm really interested in families, communities, and what makes people tick. So all of that is to do with people.
Tell me about your feeling when you met the Queen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. Really amazing. I mean, I was invited on so many fronts, right? I'm invited. So I was invited first to a garden party, and then I was invited by the previous High Commissioner to represent Kenya at a garden party at the Buckingham Palace. And then I was also invited a few years ago to represent the Commonwealth.
Wow.
So I went to a reception at Buckingham Palace where I literally shook hands with the Queen and Prince Charles and Camilla.
Oh my
So-
God.
I was really overwhelmed slightly. I had to contain my excitement because they're amazing, really super people who've done so much, really. And I think it's a challenge to be who they are, to carry on being positive and to rise to the occasion. And I mean, I only do that in a tiny way. They have to do it every single minute of their lives, right? So I'm amazed by what keeps them going. For me to meet them is a huge honor. And for me to meet them as a Kenyan woman is doubly, overwhelming. There's no words to express how excited I was on that day, and the excitement leading up to the day as well. I was like a child.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
You pinch yourself and tell yourself, is it real? Is it happening?
I think I do that every day anyway, right?
I want to get Veronica Moraa's life,
Hmm?
from Nairobi, from Kenya, from
Yeah.
Kisii, before they got to the UK.
How long have you got? My life began here, under these skies, and I was a child here. I left here when I was 7, but my memories of Kenya are always about being a child in a rural setting
Yes.
and being out in nature, being out playing safely, being happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really, I guess the jolt, and it was a jolt, appearing and landing in the UK on a snowy day, not knowing what snow was quite an experience.
Yeah.
And I have that memory almost imprinted in my head, right? So when I think about coming to the UK, I always remember the day that I arrived, getting off a plane, being wrapped up in a blanket in December because I left the sun for the cold,
Yes.
and then settling in a place that I didn't understand. But because I'm a half-full kind of person, even as a child, right?
Yeah.
I remember standing on the doorstep of the house where we were in those first few months, and I was so eager to prod the people that were passing my house. So I stood in that gate as a 7-year-old girl with big hair,
Yes. African
hair,
Yeah.
and I deliberately said, "Good morning," to everybody until I got a reaction.
Yes.
And I remember having these lessons to speak English, to learn English. And you can break up the day by good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, and the order has to be right. You have to learn that as a child.
Oh, yes.
So you can't say good morning after 12 o'clock. It's not right. So I practiced making sure I got that bit right. And I would do that every day, almost for a week or two, I'm not sure how long, until people reacted. And because they reacted, I would smile. Then I knew I had a connection.
Yeah.
That connection is what has stayed with me today. So I know how to connect with people. I've practiced. long and hard. And then going into the UK, one thing that people used to say to me, even when I was a teenager, is, "Oh, you've got a great smile." And I would think, "Oh, okay, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Now let's do the rest. Let's get to know you. Let me see if you're a good person. And if you're a good person, then we can be friends." So I made friends very quickly with lots of really interesting people. But I remember being particularly talented at one thing, not just the social thing,
Yeah. What was that?
which I learned. I was a good athlete.
Wow.
And if it wasn't for the fact that I was a good athlete, I don't think I'd be sitting talking to anyone about my life. Because that gave me confidence, and confidence is something you have to have as a child.
True.
And then you have to build on it as a child. I was on a stage receiving awards for being the fastest or the best or whatever. And one day I even got a uniform, a brand new uniform. You know, we were very poor in the UK. We had no money. And as my mother was a single parent, we had state help. So we got free school uniforms.
How did your mother and your dad, make the decision to go there?
Well, my mother married and then ended up in the UK because they had links and she wanted a better life, basically. She was looking for an easier way of living than the one that she had. She had no education. She didn't go to school. She couldn't read and write, and she still can't to this day in her 80s.
She's still alive?
She's still alive.
Amazing.
She's been very sick this year.
Sorry to hear that.
So, yeah, it's been challenging. COVID has been very challenging for her. But I have to say, having made that decision to go to the UK, she did the very best thing that she could for us. It wasn't easy for her to make that decision. But I think having done it, she just wanted us to go to school every day. We went to school every day. I hardly ever missed a day of school. I even got awards for being the best attendee. Right?
Wow.
And then when she was divorced and she was single, she then had to work in a factory. She had nothing. And then she had to have state help. So we had free school dinners and we had free school uniforms, and we even got some money from the state to help pay for our food. So I knew poverty from a very young age. I knew how difficult it could be to survive. So it's not something I wanted for myself. So how was I going to live that life and survive as the only black girl in my school until my sister came along and some other families, but only a handful.
Did your sister join in later, or she went?
No, she came with us.
Okay.
So she was 2 years behind me.
Ahead. Okay.
So she followed. And then, turning out in the school uniform, I remember very clearly that school uniform made me feel proud. It was the only uniform I've worn until I wore the RAF uniform. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of that uniform because it made me look smart. And then it made me look smarter than the others, because mine was brand new every year.
Oh, wow.
And I even got a school award for being the best dressed.
Amazing.
Little did they all know that it was free, but brand new. School was a survival. I left school with very few qualifications because I couldn't learn. I didn't know why I couldn't learn, partly because I was in the sports field and I was taken out. I was a good mascot. I was a good emblem for the school. But I wasn't necessarily getting the support inside to learn. And then I went off. I had to go back to school to study, to get the qualifications I needed. Then I needed to, get a good job, but I didn't really look for a good job. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I was good with people. So if you're good with people, then, what can I do? Yeah. I got a job working with children because I was patient and I was particularly interested in making their lives better, because I knew my life had also been challenging. So I started helping the parents look at how they could support their children better. And then I got another job in the same field. And before I knew it, 5 years later, I'm being promoted. I'm being sent to university. I was seconded. I couldn't afford university, so my employers paid in a special scheme that was for promoting black employees into university.
Tell me about your social life.
Oh, my social life. Oh gosh, what can you say? Oh, I do so much. I like to, we like to have parties. We like to socialize. We like to have friends over. We go to lots of journeys across the world. My husband works in the arts, So he's very creative. You know, he's worked at the Tate Gallery. He's run exhibitions
How
for
did you
other
meet?
artists. He was my sister's tutor. I came to visit my sister, and there's this guy. It's like, okay, who asks me if I want a lift home, and I end up saying, okay, I'm not sure this is a good idea, but yeah, okay, fine, I'll have a lift home. So, and the weather was terrible, which is how it came about. So he offered me a lift to avoid me getting, you know, stuck and stranded. And so that was very chivalrous. He ended up asking me out, and I was super embarrassed.
Did he ask you out when you are in company of your sister?
No,
Yeah.
alone in his car.
While
Would you
driving
like?
you?
Yeah. Would you like to come
Okay.
out for a drink one night? He said, and I said, no. Oh dear me! And then a few months later, the whole thing replayed, and we were in the vehicle together again. And this time, I said, "Oh, maybe we should go out for that drink."
Oh, so you're the one who initiated?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
made you now think about maybe we should go out for that drink?
Because I got to thinking about him in between, and I'd seen him in between doing his work. He's very dedicated, very serious guy, and I quite liked the fact that he was focused and serious. And I thought, he's a sensible guy.
Your sister didn't feel like you're overstepping?
Yes, she did.
Oh,
She
tell me
did.
about her reaction.
I think the first reaction was, no way are
Yeah.
you going out with my tutor. And I said, well, I'm not sure I am really, but let's see how it develops.
Yeah.
And she was counselling me, saying, you shouldn't do that, because, you know, he's a little bit older than me, 7 years or so older than me, and then I was young, you know. So he was like, yeah, you need to make a decision. You have to live your life, you know, not her life. So I really had to tell her that this was happening,
Yeah.
and she had to get used to it. But I think for quite a long time she treated him like he was still the tutor, right? Not the future brother-in-law he
Yes,
became.
Yeah.
And now, of course, yeah, she got over it very quickly. She was quite happy. We got married. We've been together 40 years, believe it or not.
Congratulations.
And that is huge as far as I'm concerned. It feels like,
It is.
who is that woman that's been married 40 years? She must be behind me somewhere, right? It doesn't feel like it's real.
Yeah, true. Tell me about your kids.
Oh, wow. They're amazing.
How
going
old
to say
are they
that.
now?
My son is 36, 37. My daughter is 35.
Wow.
So they're 2 years apart. And my daughter, she went into theatre. She got her first degree, got her first in theatre and performance. In fact, she was gifted and talented through the school years. They elevated her into the West End theatre groups. And she did that for a little while. Then she got married and has 2 children.
You're a grandmother.
I'm a grandmother.
Congratulations.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful children. My son has, in fact, she now works as a paramedic, believe it or not. She changed careers. Our husband is a businessman and has restaurants.
Yeah.
He's also a chef. And my son is a historian. So he did his first degree in history, then his master's. He's followed through with history. So he's always worked he's also really interested in writing. So he's always writing and reviewing.
Wow.
And he's also interested in the media world.
Have you brought your kids to your land?
Of course we have, yeah. And he has a daughter, and he has a partner who also has a daughter.
Wow.
And they, I have to announce, are going to have another child in July. So I'm super
This
proud.
year.
Yeah,
You're
this
looking
year.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to be a grandma of 5.
I'm going to be a grandma of 5. Yeah, can't
You
believe
don't look
it.
like it.
No, of course I don't look like it. I don't want to. This is what a grandmother of 5 looks like, right?
When you look back to over 50 years ago, do you think your mother's decision to relocate to the UK was the best decision ever? And why?
Oh, I think for her it was at the time. And now I can see the benefits. At the time when she did it, I didn't agree. I didn't think they were the best decisions. As a child, I didn't agree with that at all. For me and my sister, we have made our ways through it in a way that she probably would never understand, even today. I don't do anything that I do today without a lot of support, which is why I talk about, you know, making sure your networks are good networks, your friends are good friends, and yeah, I definitely stand on the shoulders of many others, right? And I can't emphasize that enough.
What a remarkable journey that is. We are not yet done with Veronica though. In the next part of this show, we get to meet her husband, a Nottinghamshire-born artist, Roy Pickering, and her cousin George, who share the memorable experiences with Veronica, including their visits to Kisii.
My name is George, and I'm Veronica's cousin, first cousin. And the best I can remember is when they first came to Kenya. I can't remember whether it was the first time or the second, because I was pretty young that time. Every time they could visit, they could actually come to the village because most of us were not living in towns that time. And she used to come with Roy and Josh, their child now, that time. And you know, she could come and we could be very excited within the village. She used to come with blankets and clothes for my grandmom. She could also bring us clothes, if I remember. And then that was the time actually most of us could have a time to eat well, so to speak, within the village setup. Roy and Veronica having come from England, one could not expect them to sleep in our rural setup. Surprisingly, they used to sleep in our mud houses, and you could wake up. They used to use our pit latrines that time, and well, that's how humble it has been. I had an opportunity to work in England sometime, and you know, having that culture shock at that particular time, she could actually drive all the way with Roy from Nottingham to come and visit me in the Lake District. And I remember she brought me a lot of winter jackets that time, and warm clothing and all that, and I think that was very touching, really.
Especially recently with the recent royal appointments, and you know, it's quite amazing, really. Yeah, so I met this girl, this beautiful Kenyan girl. I didn't know she was Kenyan when I first met her. She told me that. Didn't know where she was from. So I got all the stories about things back in Kenya. And it was like, we've got to go back, we've got to go. So we took the first opportunity to come back, and this was the occasion George was talking about. I'm impressed that George remembers this, because he was very small at the time.
Our naming of children has mostly been related or associated with our grandfather. Yeah. So, but again, you know, we have been brought up by our grandmother mostly. When our children were born, we had to get in touch with George and the family. What is his name? So we called him Josh. But he has a Kenyan name. He has a Kisii name. So he's Osoro. And we now know there are quite a few Osoros around in the family as well. So our daughter, when she was born, we called her Razia, and she was given the Kisii name of Kimunto. And now we have grandchildren. So we have 3 grandchildren. We have Ivy Nyaboki and Freddie Onsongo and Otis. What's Otis?
Osoro.
Otis Osoro. Yeah. Sorry. So I was saying earlier on, the only person who doesn't have a Kisii name is me.
So what can we name him?
I think that will be due for consultation within the family.
Something I can pronounce, please.
Yeah, we should get your name. Yes. Should be able to get.
Seriously grand.
Yeah, we should be able to get you something.
It's worth 40 years within the family.
Yes.
How time flies when you're having a good time indeed. Unfortunately, that's all time could allow us to share today. Many thanks for watching Diaspora Life. Join us again next week and every Friday at 8 p.m. Kenyan time on KTN News for more stories of Kenyans with diaspora experiences. Do you have a story you'd like to share with the world? Let's help you tell it by sending us an email through diasporalife@standardmedia.co.ke or DM us on our social media platforms at diaspora_life or at KTN News Kenya. Remember to download Standard Flix app for lots of juicy stories both in Kenya and the diaspora. You can also follow me at Pasil Telewa on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and TikTok for more interaction. Wishing you a fantastic evening and see you again next week, same time, same place.